Praise Lord, saints. This is Elder Adrian Hammond. I want to bring out the concept of yet another sign of the times. Some of the signs of the times that will bring out or have brought out is specifically stated to be a sign of the times by Christ or by his apostles. But there are others that you deduce because of their certainty of being here. So you have to watch out how things are being developed. Maybe it happens all of a sudden and these things don't happen, but most likely the Lord puts the world or the combating parties or whatever it happens to be involved in a place where essentially it becomes almost mandatory that they go by the way that's by Scripture. One of those I'm going to bring forth today, and it deals with, as much as some of us may be afraid of it, the sign of incurable pandemics. Now, late in 2018, 19, and definitely went full force in 2020, we had this pandemic which featured the spread of COVID-19, which means there must have been other COVID viruses that were maybe less contagious before, COVID-18, COVID-17, we don't know. Plus there are different strands of this virus that essentially became more and more and more invasive, so to speak. But we got a taste of it. And we were so afraid, we shut down businesses. People were forced to work from their homes. The few times I did drive down the streets to find something to eat, the streets were eerily empty, just empty. No one out on the road at all. Everybody that was on the road, you saw they had masks on. So to protect themselves from this little itty bitty organism that could cause so much damage to the human body. Well, we've gotten past that. And even though there have been other COVID outbreaks, it has never reached the level of pandemic again. We treat them like the flu. We see the flu virus, boom, okay, fine. We see the COVID virus, boom, we got it. Then there are people, though, who, because they've been studying eschatology and they've been looking at the mark of the beast, and because they don't want the government getting into the way of governing our lives, then we say that these particular viruses that are meant to stop the disease are actually a method through which the mark of the beast is coming. And I want to tell you right now, that's not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast doesn't just come because you are taking a vaccine, especially if you're not worshiping either the vaccine or the maker of the vaccine. Because remember, when it is put down, it's one thing to list what the mark is. It's another thing exactly to understand the circumstances by which the mark of the beast is going to be implemented. So for those of you that have taken viruses, you're not backslidden. You're not going to hell because of your virus. It could be some other things, but it's not the virus. That's all I'm saying. But getting back on the idea of pandemics. In Revelation, when we deal with the seal, the opening of the seals, and each opening of the seals of this particular book. Now, remember, the books in those days didn't look like the books in our days. The books in our days, you can stand them up. They have these pages. They may have hard copy. They may have hard covers. They may have soft covers, but you can stack them up in a bookshelf and so on. Ah, looks good. But in those days, you had rolls of papyrus or parchment, and you had no printing press. So it was not just copy, and you produce 500 books a day, 1,000 books a day, 10,000 books a day. You don't have any of that. You would be hard pressed to see if you can get a book done or a scroll done, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, one. So if you want to make a copy of it, you try to follow the best that you could to remember to copy every single word exactly. That's why sometimes in the translations of the word of God, it may be a little different because you may not be able to translate verbally, word for word, but you may be able to translate thought by thought, which inevitably means you may not get the words correct, but the thought becomes the major thing. And different theologians fight about that too. But again, getting back to the subject at hand. When the fourth seal is open, it says that there came a pale horse whose rider was death. And hell, or the realm of the dead, followed behind them. Death would slay, kill. And then hell would come right back of them, taking all the souls. And there were 4 main reasons why people will die during that time. It said it will involve 1/4 of the world's inhabitants. So if we have 8 billion people in this world right now we have over 8 billion people. But in that, 6 billion of those will be, 2 billion, I'm sorry. 2 billion of those will be subject to what I just said. They will pass away. If that particular number from that seal is true, I tend to believe it is. But they will perish in 4 ways. Number 1, violence. Doesn't have to be a war, although war will be a lot of that. But it also will be unrest. It will be gang violence. It will be criminal violence. It will be feuds between families. It will be people just randomly shooting people because the hearts of men have grown cold. They do that even right now. Why did you kill so and so? I felt that essentially a voice told me to do it. So I feel no ill will towards this person, but I don't feel bad about shooting this person either. You'll have a lot more of those. So, violence. Number 2, famine. Because that's what naturally takes place after a war. Is not enough food to essentially feed everyone who's left. And it could be many reasons why. It doesn't have to be just because people don't make enough food. Sometimes the food is all there, but you have to transport it from the place where the food is made to the place where the people are. Right now, it's a little different thing, but in this conflict between the U.S. and Iran, oil prices are shooting through the roof. Why? Because the oil is not getting to the places where the people need them. And so now the oil is more pricey. And just like that oil, that means food becomes more pricey, more expensive. Because people want it and they can't get it. So many people die from that. Now, the third thing, again, is a natural following of both wars and famine. That's why this one is also a sign. This is a sign because essentially, after you kill people and starve out the rest, when people hang around dead people, when people don't then eat the way they should, the body then becomes susceptible to germs, to bacteria, to fungi, and of course, to viruses that can then attack the body mercilessly because they've lost their ability to insulate themselves against these hordes trying to get into your body. So, to me, there will be a growth in the death of people due to various pandemics. And COVID-19 was simply a walk in the park. We have diseases that are out there that you should be afraid of. Because even if they have the right antidote, more often than not, you won't get it in time and you'll die a horrific death. Does anybody remember the Black Plague? Do you remember that it swept over? Of course, you may not remember being in it, but reading about it. It swept through, it said it decimated close to, if not more than, 50% of Europe's population at the time. 50%. What if COVID-19 had done that? And it was caused by rats biting people. Hordes of them biting people. These rats had the disease. It defaced a lot of people who then spread it through infected liquids, whether it's their blood, whether it's their, say, pus, whether it was some other bodily fluid. And that person got it. They didn't practice cleanliness during that time. They didn't know anything about sinks and so on to wash your hands with. They knew about baths, but essentially a lot of them couldn't take baths every day. What happened? They died horrific deaths. We've just got scares over the past few months of outbreaks of measles. Measles, a childhood disease that we had thought we had completely eradicated. But because some people did not want to take a vaccine because they felt there's something wrong with vaccines. They had that old fear about it. And they tell you that, well, if you get measles, you can truly be insulated from it because you build an immunity to it. That's true if you survive. But you want to play with your life. So now you have measles. It's not quite a pandemic stage yet. But who knows whether that's going to happen in the future, especially with the people taking vaccines less and less. But I'm looking at other things such as Ebola. Ebola ends up with your organs hemorrhaging blood, and you bleed from your nose, you bleed from your skin, you bleed from your mouth, you bleed from your eyes, you bleed from your ears, and you just bleed from everywhere, and you just suffer and die. How do we end up stopping that? We stopped it at the source. But what's happened since then? We cut funding. Because we felt that we shouldn't be giving money to actually stop these things from happening. Let them take care of their own people. Well, they didn't have it before. You think they're going to have it now? So you have, in certain communities, maybe a rebound of Ebola. Not to mention diseases that happen in this country all the time that folks don't tell you about. That is almost always fatal, even if it's caught and you're taken to a hospital immediately. And that is what? The flesh-eating, brain-eating disease caused by these organisms that if you jump into a warm body of water, like they have all around the South, lakes, just that's inviting. Just to jump into it, have a summer swim, feels so good. But then afterwards, those essentially those germs, those bacteria, they infiltrate through your mouth because you're breathing water. Of course, you're drinking the water. You're going through your mouth and going through your ears. And they end up coming to your brain and they just begin to eat it or consume portions of it. And of course, you start dealing anything with the brain, things begin to go haywire. And they tend to like certain areas of the brain. Like your locomotion. You can't walk anymore because they've eaten that part. You can't see anymore because they've eaten that part. Can't talk anymore because they've eaten that part. And your body begins to collapse. And you eventually die. Now, I didn't mean this to be a very scary thing. But these are signs that the Lord is soon to appear. Because these things will get, even though they get their fulfillment in the tribulation period, their beginnings are already around us. That should tell us enough right now. It's because of the Lord holding everything back is why we're having all these things not happening. So we have to be very careful about that, saints of God. So again, just because there's no wholesale death right now, doesn't mean we shouldn't watch out for it. Things are being set up for that to take place. With both the diseases themselves, as well as the political situations, the feelings of one per people towards another, all that plays into it. If we knew and we wanted to hold it back, maybe we would do the things that would cause the Lord to hold back and therefore bring salvation to somebody else. But if we want to be selfish, Lord, let's come on. Lord, come. Lord, come. Lord, come now. I can't stand this world. Okay, I understand that. But just know that you're dooming a lot of people to eternal damnation. And I think God will hold us accountable for not at least making an attempt to get to them before the wrath of God falls. Just a thought. God bless you. May He keep you. Love you, everyone. Take care of yourselves. In Jesus' name.